Hi, my name is Meliora. This video is part of a new player guide series that I will be putting together for Final Fantasy XI. Throughout this series, I will be covering a variety of topics to help new players getting started. And in this episode, we will be covering Windowware, what it is and how you get it set up and started. We will also cover some of the most popular add-ons and plugins that's available by Windowware. Now, this isn't going to be an in-depth setup guide or an add-on tutorial per se. The goal is to give you some basic introduction to Windowware and its ecosystem and how to get started. Now, if there's any other Windowware related topics that you'd like me to cover, then please let me know in the comments below. With that out of the way, let's begin. So the very first step is downloading Windowware if you haven't done that already. So in order to download Windowware, you need to go to windowware.net and press on this green button here. And once you downloaded the windowware.exe file, I would copy this onto a different location. So let's say you have your C drive, then I would make a Windowware folder in here. Because when you start windowware.exe for the first time, then it's going to download a bunch of files. You wouldn't want to have that in your downloads location. So let's start the application. And then it will download a bunch of files that it's going to need, and when it finishes you will be presented by the Windowware launcher window. So let's go through all the menus and settings. So by default you will have a default profile.
Well, duh.
And by pressing on the plus icon you could add another profile if you like to have different ones, but most people probably will just use one. Then you can press on the edit pencil here. You can change which key to, you can change the hotkey for the console. And by default it's gonna be the insert key on your keyboard, but let's say we wanted it on end key, and you can just press your end key. But let's move it back to insert. You have a section for region. It's gonna detect what regions of the game you have installed, but you can leave it on auto detect and it will work. For window mode, obviously, how would you like to play the game? And borderless is gonna be the default. You can change it to window or full screen. But in full screen, as it says right here, Alt tab is not supported in full screen. Stick to borderless or window. And then you have your resolution. You can pick whatever you like. It's gonna default to your system's resolution. So 1440p is my desktop resolution, so that's what it's gonna default to. Under game tab, you have several game related settings. For instance, your hardware mouse, sound, should sound always be playing, always enable gamepad if the gamepad always should be enabled, which means the gamepad would control the game even if the game is not in focus. Same for play sound, if the game is not in focus, the game sound will still play.
Éxito.
Obviously, right?
Silly me.
You can enable some graphical settings like super sampling and bump mapping. You would have to play around with these because they have different impact on your GPU and CPU depending on your hardware. You can enable MIP mapping from 0 to level 6. You can also enable UI scaling. So for instance, let's say you have this at 1440p, but you feel like the game is too small, then you can increase the UI scaling to use. And the gamma is obviously controlling the gamma ratio, so you can keep it at 0 or you want to increase it or decrease it. It's up to you. I would play around with these settings until you find a sweet spot for your system. Under advanced, we have a couple toggles. I would toggle allow Windows key pass-through. Next one is for users who has more than 4 Play Online accounts. So it would be for those of you who are multi-boxing. It increases the hard cap of number of accounts in Play Online viewer. Allows up to 20 accounts to be added. So if you like to do that, then enable that setting. Enable fast Play Online login. Prevent Play Online background throttling, which means that when the game is not in focus, then it won't slow down. I would enable that as well. And then we have the tools, and here you can enable something called large address aware, and that just enables higher memory usage for the game, and this is primarily for mod usage. Like it says here, useful for HD texture mods. So a common behavior that you notice when this is disabled is in some areas in the game you see everything is just black out. You see just your character and maybe a home point and another player, but you can't really move around anything. It's like you're stuck. Then that means you run out of memory, and then this toggle should fix it. Okay, let's examine the add-ons tab. So Windower comes packed with a lot of add-ons and quality of life extensions for the game. And we won't go through all of them because there's quite an extensive list, but I will like to highlight a couple useful ones. Battle mod, and that add-on simply consolidates all the battle log messages into one. So instead of having maybe 3 lines of log when you do a triple attack, then it would do 1 log and show the total damage from the triple attack and things like that. Let's say you're a white mage and you cast Protectra for your party. Instead of seeing 6 lines of affected party members who got protect, then it would just show 1 line. Things like that. Another nice one is console BG or console background. Instead of having a transparent background for the console for Windower in the game, then it will display a dark background so it's more readable. Debuffed is another popular add-on. It will show an on-screen display of current debuffs on your target. It can be useful to track how long sleep, for example, on a enemy. Distance Plus is a distance add-on that will show how many yalms you are away from a target. Eternity is another nice to have add-on. It will automatically press enter in prompts, in cutscenes or chats with an NPC. That means that you don't have to spam enter when you're watching a cutscene, for example. However, I would probably be cautious about this if you're in for the story in this game, because it may skip some dialogue that you wanted to read. Equip Viewer is another add-on that's fairly popular. It shows a on-screen display of your current equipment. Fast Cutscene is another add-on that's frequently suggested by the community. It makes so when you're in a cutscene, it will speed it up by setting a uncapped frame rate. However, there is a handful of cutscenes in the game that will break when you use fast cutscene, so use it with care. Find All is another great add-on, especially if you're a hoarder like me. With Find All, you can do a //find all or //find and the item name, and you will locate where you have a certain item in which storage. Find All makes it also so it looks on any character that you logged into on your account. So if you have mules or secondary characters, then it will look in those storages as well. Next up is Gear Swap that you may or may not heard about before. It's a add-on that most people are using today. It's an add-on that will change your equipment based on scenarios or situations. It's automatically swapping your gear. So let's say you're casting a cure on your white mage, then maybe you have a curing set, then Gear Swap would equip that curing set. Or if you're a damage dealer, then maybe you have a set for getting TP, and then you want to have another set for a weapon skill. You get the idea. Another add-on that is nice to have is timestamp. It will show a timestamp to all chat messages. There is a built-in timestamp in the game. However, it's not as detailed as timestamp add-on. So if you want a timestamp on every chat log, then use timestamp. If you only want timestamp on like chat messages from your link shell or party members and things like that, then you can enable the timestamp that's available in the in-game settings. Another add-on is called T-Party or T-D-Party, depending on how you want to pronounce it. It will show a little TP amount next to each party member in your party list. It will also show the target's HP percentage, so it can be useful. There is, however, a command in the game as well for showing party members TP, but it only works on player characters, so trust it does not work on. If you like to use the in-game command, it would be /partyinfo show TP. Next up is the plugins. Well, there's not as many plugins as it is add-ons, because Vana'diel has moved away from using plugins in favor of add-ons for numerous reasons. But there's a couple ones that are still pretty essential. Config is probably one of the biggest ones that you want to use. Config is a plugin that consolidates several settings, but the most common one is most likely be able to play the game in 60 FPS. By default, the game will run at 30 FPS because it's an old PlayStation 2 game, but with config you can enable 60 FPS or even uncap it. However, if you run it uncapped, you need to control your FPS outside of the game, because it will try to run at whatever your GPU is capable of, but let's say it speeds up to 200 FPS. The game is not designed to run at 200 FPS, so it will act really odd. Personally, I have mine uncapped FPS set to 70. It's a sweet spot for my equipment, but I had to control it outside of the game through a application called Reba Tuner, which lets you limit your FPS for certain applications. So my suggestion is, if you're not comfortable by doing that, then just set your FPS to 60. I will show you the config file for config in a minute. Next one is the FFXI DB. It's a mouthful, but it's standing for Final Fantasy 11 database, which is both a website, but the main use here is an in-game minimap, just like in other modern MMORPGs. I don't personally use this, but it's not because it's a bad plugin, it's because I played this game for so long that having a minimap feels weird to me.
Weird.
And that's the basics of Vana'diel. So next, let's take a look at the configuration file. And don't mind all the settings here, because some of them are customized for my setup. But for frame rate, for example, like it says here, set it to value 2 for 30 FPS, which is the default, or set it for 1 for the 60 FPS. And save your file, and then reload the game or reload the plugin. Then it should show you 60 FPS now. A quick way to do it in-game, if you don't want to edit this file, is enter //config frame rate divisor in this style So not in only lowercase and not just in uppercase. It must be large F, large R, and large D. And then enter your value, so 1, and then enter. That will enable frame rate divisor level 1 or 60 FPS, and when you run this in game, it would also update this value here and save the file, so you don't have to change it every time. And if you like to see the FPS meter in the game, you can also just type out show FPS, and you will see a little meter in one of your corners depending on how you have configured WindowWare. By default, it's going to be in the upper left corner, I believe. It's also by default hotkey to F12 on your keyboard. And I think that's everything for WindowWare. By enable all these plugins and add-ons, it will be automatically loaded next time you open WindowWare and play the game. There's no manual settings that you need to do. And that is your introduction to WindowWare. Like I mentioned at the start of the video, if there's anything you like to see me expanding on, then please let me know in the comments down below. And if you like this video, please leave a like and leave a subscription if you haven't already. With that said, thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.